Hi y'all, and welcome to Yaya for Yoga. I have been out in the yard all day and it has been beautiful and it was much needed. Happy full moon in Libra. I am signing on today to bring you a full moon reading. The reading that I'm doing for you today uses a lot of different decks. I very much like doing this reading on the full moon for myself, and I call it the Healing Intention Spread because during our time of surrender, which is one of the things the full moon helps us to do, illuminating the things that we need to let go of as the moon is on its waning cycle. And so I figured I would share that with y'all today. I use a number of different decks, like I said, so I'm going to start with my regular tarot deck. Now, the first cards that I pull are three. So the first step of this spread is three cards, and it's going to be mind, body, and spirit. So mind and mind. So two cards for the mind just plopped out of the deck, and I think that's very interesting because we are all about right now making contracts, Hierophant, to make magic. One of the things that is challenging with our mind sometimes is that we look at the contracts we've made and we often feel that we have to uphold them, or maybe we're not upholding them the way that we can. And so be mindful of that as it comes up. Seek out guidance and counsel from those who might be wise. This is a card that represents a lot of that. The Magician, I always like to say, is a wonderful card because it does represent the ability that we have within ourselves to make magic when we start to allow ourselves to look at how we want things to be, and then to start taking action and having faith and believing that it's not necessarily going to turn out exactly how we think, but if we start to be a little bit more positive, we really might be able to see some things unravel as we're looking at things with our mind's eye, right? So the next card that comes up is body. Again, two cards. Y'all, this is interesting. All right, because I typically only pull one, mind, body, and spirit. So now I'm pulling the Queen of Cups and the Fool. Now, the Queen of Cups is a wonderful card I like to use. Now, remember, this is body. She is going to take care of herself. She is going to recognize the emotion she has within. This is a great thing for that Libra moon as well, to balance out that side of ourselves. Are you nurturing yourself and your body the way that you should? Are you constantly nurturing others? I read a thing earlier today that was very interesting from a therapist that I follow, and it said something along the lines of self-care for people who have been through trauma where they had to play nice, where they had to be the good child and things like that. They have a challenge being able to nurture themselves. It actually creates a fear in their nervous system. And I get that completely because whenever I'm doing things myself, washing my face, for instance, and just taking time to do my gua sha, one of the funny things that I've shared with people since I've started doing that in the last year is, like, I want to take, 10 minutes. And once I'm 5 minutes in, I start questioning myself, what am I supposed to be doing? I've actually set aside the time. There's nothing else I'm supposed to be doing. But something within me is saying, I'm taking too much time on me. 10 minutes to wash my face or to take a bath or something like that, or just taking care of myself, should not be too much to ask. More than that should not be too much to ask, which is one of the reasons that I really enjoy teaching yoga. People can, spend that time, and in group classes you hold yourself accountable and other people hold you accountable because they come to class and then they make friends and it creates a community, and then I'm there to teach, so it holds me accountable and helps me be part of the community. So it's a beautiful process. But the Queen of Cups says, it's time for you in your body to take care and nurture yourself. So what are you doing that is for that? And don't be scared to start new things. Don't be scared to go out and just try something. The Fool says maybe it's time for you to venture off into the unknown and how to take care of yourself in the body, okay? And mind, body, spirit. So this last card, I did only pull one this time. Oh, with the Page of Cups. The spirit. I love how I was just talking about the Queen of Cups and the Fool and going out into the unknown in the body realm. And the spirit realm, the Page of Cups represents so much of that, right? It is a message to you to have faith, to believe, to let yourself dive in and trust and get all of those butterflies and follow them, right? Follow all of the butterflies in your stomach that feel good. Not the ones that make you feel queasy necessarily, but that also depends on you, because sometimes fun things might make you feel queasy. I don't know for sure. But that's what the Page of Cups likes to say. He likes to say, come on in, get stuff done, believe in love, believe that you can go out there and do things in the things that you love in the spirit world. Now, the next card that I'm going to pull is from my Surrender deck, my Surrender Oracle deck. I like to pull this card because, as I was telling you, on the full moon, the idea is to surrender, to let go, to start allowing yourself to you can set intentions of things that you need to let go of. In the new moon, you plant seeds of things you want to build. So in the surrender realm, the card that we pull here is surrender the drama. Oh, I love that. No matter how emotionally charged the situation, remain calm and don't contribute to the drama. Staying centered will help resolve the issue more quickly. It is really easy to say that, not so easy to do all the time. But be mindful that one of the things that I truly believe is the more we allow ourselves to become aware of it, the more we give ourselves the power to start allowing ourselves to surrender it, to allow ourselves to remain calm in the situation. First, you have to recognize that that's what you want to do, and then you have to allow yourself to remember that when you say that's what you want to do, the world is going to give you experiences to challenge you. So if you don't do it the first time or the second or the 20th, give yourself compassion and keep reminding yourself, this is why the world is giving me these experiences, so I can master this skill within myself. And I will send you some positive vibes for that as well, because it can be challenging. Now, the anxiety to surrender in this same spread. So this is step 2 of this same spread, and I'm pulling the Devil card, right? The Devil is often a card that talks about ego, addictions, keeping up with the Joneses, keeping up the facade. This is something to surrender. So the anxiety that creeps in sometimes when we are letting things go is the fear of what other people might think, the fear that we can't do it, the fear that we are going to be too attached, right? That Devil card likes to come up when we are going to be super attached to something. I always like to tell people when this card comes up that when I'm talking about addictions with the Devil card, it does not necessarily mean what you think it means, because addictions are also thoughts. Ahamkara is the yoga word for our monkey minds, and that is often a lot of what I have discovered. A lot of people's anxiety is the thoughts that start to creep in, and they start to regain control, or they start to get control the more we allow ourselves to get frustrated with them and become anxious about them, and then they get more control, and then again, it's all about planting that seed to surrender the drama. All right, so the next cards that I'm going to pull are going to be projection, shadow, and insecurity. So this is going to be what others represent in this surrender that is coming up for you. Remember that others, it doesn't necessarily mean that this is what others are doing, okay? This is, the Six of Pentacles. This doesn't necessarily represent what others are doing. I always like to let people know that, because a lot of times whenever we have things that are going on with other people, we say, oh, they didn't do that. Oh, they didn't do that. Sometimes it's because we're allowing them to do exactly what they're doing. The Six of Pentacles is great here because it represents generosity. It represents like getting the energy back that you have been given or giving out. And it's important to recognize the gifts that you have to give and how you're being generous. What parts of your energy are you being generous with? And then allowing yourself to recognize what parts of energy are other people being generous with you. Because when you allow yourself to start seeing what other people are bringing to the table, instead of trying to see what you want them to bring to the table, then it makes it a little bit easier for you to recognize if that is an even exchange for you, if it feels like it is right for you. When we attach something onto someone else, sometimes that can be our own stuff. So it's important to allow ourselves to pay attention when we are thinking those things, like they're not doing what I want them to do, and things like that. Now, the next one is the shadow side, right? This is the shadow and insecurities and anxiety, possible wounds that come up for you in temperance. That's kind of funny that that comes up. I always tell people temperance represents a lot about recognizing that timing is an important factor in so many of the things that we are wanting to do, and balance is so important. So think about how someone is creating a sword. It takes balance, right, to be able to make a beautiful sword, and it takes temperance, like to really have that patience to go through the process of turning it and burning it and whatever else is, and cooling it, and whatever other steps there are into creating that. And so in anything that we do, it's important for us to recognize, again, you know, whenever we start to feel like we're not getting back what we're giving, and we feel like we are depleted, it's important for us to recognize where that depletion is coming from, not allowing ourselves to project it onto others, but to look and take a step back and to say, okay, how can I rearrange this if I need to, or what do I need to let go of if I need to? Remembering that. Now, the next part of the spread here is the healing intention. So this is going to be 3 separate card pulls, and this is from 3 separate decks. The first one is from the tarot deck, and I'm pulling the Wheel of Fortune. I like that that comes up for you here, because the Wheel of Fortune, I always talk about, it represents decisions. It represents being able to recognize that what goes around comes around. So again, whenever we invest energy, it does come back to us. When we are investing it in a way where we aren't attached, it's going to come back to us in the way that is for our highest good, I think is the way that I'd like to say that. But a lot of times we do send out things with attachments. We make decisions with attachments. Well, I'm going to do this because this is what I want. It doesn't mean that that is not going to happen. But when we have an anticipation of how something is going to turn out, then it could leave us very frustrated if it doesn't turn out the way that we see. Remember that Magician card, setting the goals, seeing how you want your life to be, but being mindful that when we set those attachments, it could leave us frustrated. So allowing yourself to trust that it's going to be better than what you could ever imagine, what you could ever think. So if it doesn't happen the way that you're thinking, ask yourself why you're attached to that certain thing to begin with. Easier said than done, again, with surrendering the drama. So that's the Wheel of Fortune card that comes up, right? Now, the next one I'm going to pull from my Activations Oracle deck. I'm trying not to drop all of my decks here because I got a small table. Now, the one that came up, I actually have one of these crystals. I'll have to put it on my altar for this full moon. This is the Merkaba. And it says the frequency of Merkaba supports our ability to use our consciousness to traverse into other layers of reality and dimensions. It activates our access to the Akashic inheritance as well, merging the totality of our experiences in our present to serve our higher purpose. Oh, I love that that's the card that came up, because I think I just said something like that. And it's beautiful when things kind of have that synchronicity tied into it. So this is how you activate this purpose within yourself. Remember that we are all together, right? We are all trying to get through life together, and it is important for us to be here for each other, and it is important for us to be here for ourselves. Remember that Queen of Cups. Now, the final card that comes here on this step, and then I only have one more step to this, is the Journey Within. So the Journey Within is always a card that I like to pull on this one, because it does talk about what part are you going inward on during this full moon cycle. This says living consciously. Many people go through life solely on the shores of life and death, building castles of worldly accomplishments in the sand of material existence. But at the dusk of life, the rising ocean of time will wash everything away. For a truly lasting legacy, live a life grounded in mindful intention and love. Do you see the theme? That's awesome, y'all. So being the change is the one that I got last time, and the theme is personal growth. So remember, that is one of the things that our full moon and our new moon help to represent in our life, is our personal growth. What are our goals? What are our aspirations? How are we building towards that? And if we're only building things to like get 4 cars and 5 mansions and What is it that you really want to do? How do you want to support the aspirations that you have, the dreams that you have? Yes, you definitely need money for some of those things. That's okay too. So allow yourself to remember that, but not making it all about that. All right, now for special guidance. I got 2 more cards again for y'all. Special guidance. Remember that it can go a whole lot of different ways. And I love that this 7 of Cups came up first, because when this comes up, I tell people don't live with your head in the clouds. Try to be mindful, staying present, right? Just like the last card said. It's also a card that represents illusions and self-doubt. So with the illusions, not letting ourselves get attached to one way that it can go, recognizing that things can happen. And the way that a situation turns out, there are so many possibilities, right? When I'm doing readings for people, people are asking me, what's going to happen next tomorrow or in the future? And I always say, well, this is what the energy reads right now. But the truth of the matter is that can change at any moment. All right. And the final card for this is the Queen of Pentacles. And I love that she came up after that 7 of Cups, because she is saying build your self-confidence, build your platform of your life. What are the foundations for your life that you want? Because when the Queen of Pentacles, the 9 of Pentacles, I'm so sorry. The 9 of Pentacles. So the 9 of Pentacles is saying abundance is available. So losing self-doubt. Remember, when we set intentions with doubts, we are going to find them harder to manifest into existence. So if we allow ourselves to remember the abundance, because even though we run into pitfalls, we can plant those seeds over and over again, right? And as we plant those seeds over and over again, we're starting to take those weeds away. We're starting to take away all that self-doubt. We're starting to take away the illusion of thinking of how we want it to be versus just allowing ourselves to surrender to what it will be. And that is when we really find the abundance that the world has to offer us. I truly hope that this reading helped you today, and I wish you all the best. Namaste.